Um, Hey, how are you guys? Welcome back again uh, to our second episode of this reggae music, and I hope you'll be doing well. Sure, you'll be doing well, and I've also been doing well, and I'm here today so that we can discuss a few things. Though our today's episode will be rather short, but a few things before we get into the real meat, so that we can dissect and look at how reggae music is. But before then, today's episode will just be about one King Haile Selassie, as they call him, and number two, we'll talk about a number of people who the Rastafaris or the Rastafarian movement holds high or in high regard. Remember, like we said last time, um, Rastafari movement uh, has high regard of black people. They talk about black supremacy, the supremacy of the black man, and they so much disregard the white man, uh, and basically that's against the Christ's teaching, and so that's a little bit of a discrepancy between them and Christianity. There are many more discrepancies which make them a little bit questionable when you look at them, and frankly, it is good that we unearth some of these things. They've talked about a number, or they've held high regard of a number of black people who've been able to make huge changes in history. By the way, you have to get this right from me. We don't hate those people. We don't say they didn't do much. Actually, they did. The likes of Marcus Garvey, the likes of Martin Luther King, the likes of Obama, like people look at it. I don't know how, but the likes of the Haile Selassie because of the kind of things they did. We respect it, but we cannot worship. The problem with the Rastafarian movement is that they hold them in high regard to an extent of looking like they want to worship them. And there's a little bit of controversy in that because uh, you worshiping a fellow person, whereas maybe in comparison to Christianity, we look at a deity or the Trinity and Jesus Christ for that matter. It brings a little bit of discrepancies. And so today, um, I want us to discuss about those things. Remember, this channel is about sharpening our knowledge about the music, reggae music to be specific, and also to reach out to people. There are Christians who've been trapped into listening to reggae music. I was once there, and I know, and I want to thank God that today I have a different view of the whole thing. So, without wasting a lot of time, who is Haile Selassie? Haile Selassie is a former emperor of Ethiopia. And by the way, I wanted to get this clearly that Haile Selassie is a title. It's a title, like the way we have the, 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 the Caesar, who was known in the Roman Empire. Haile Selassie is a title, and the real name of because the Rastafarians used to regard the Haile Selassie one as the Black Messiah. The real name for Haile Selassie I was Tafari Makonnen. Tafari Makonnen. He was born in 1892 in Ethiopia. He died in 1975, and I think I died like 27th of August 1975. That's when he died. And Haile Selassie is famous among the Rastafarians because there are things that he did, and like we say, they worship the black supremacy. There are things that he did, and they took him in high regard, things that they feel had never been done by anyone else. For example, for Haile Selassie, he was able to unite Africa. Or rather, he played a key role in uniting Africa, and that to them was a thing that they could not close their eyes to. They feel that the guy really did a lot. He was a god to them, and in his time of rulership, like I said in the last episode, he in his time of reign in Ethiopia, he made a trip to Jamaica, and this trip, and like they say, it made a lot of sense to them because Jamaica didn't have rain for 3 years. And those 3 years were tough times for them. No wonder sometimes they regard to Jamaica as hell, and they look at to Ethiopia as their heaven, where their God is. And Jamaica didn't have rain for that long, and so when Haile Selassie set off to go to Jamaica, and when he reached the airport and set his foot on the ground just like this, there was heavy rainfall. To me, that was a coincidence. To me, that was a coincidence. But to them, they believe that it is a mystery. Like we said in the first episode, every religion has a mystery or has mysteries that they talk about, which makes a religion. And to me, um, that was a coincidence because um, Emperor Haile Selassie was just a man. He didn't have any other addition. Unlike Christ, who we knew, and the Bible says that he was both God and man. And so Haile Selassie became a celeb in them and later became their god. They tried to explain the lineage of Haile Selassie, and this is funny when you read into them and you look into the history of this belief. Uh, the Rastafarians believe that he is in the is Haile Selassie is from the lineage of King Solomon, the father of David, and also now that connects them to Jesus. I don't know how true it is. That's how their history books are written, and that's how they have believed all along. There are a number of people that the Rastafarian movement also recognizes with a lot of greatness. One of them is Marcus Garvey, and he is known for fighting for the rights of the blacks. And to Rastafarians, anybody who fights for the blacks, to them, they hold in high regard. He is a god to them. And so even most of these musicians, the reggae musicians, they so much uphold these black people in their singing. That's what I call worship, really. And they have other people like Menlik too. They have other people like Martin Luther King, and actually like whole songs sung for those people in the reggae genre. And there are people like Obama of late, because there's actually a song by Kokoti. Kokoti is a reggae musician, and he's done a song to praise Obama. Obama, and with time we shall listen to these songs. You'll hear the kind of praise they heap on these people, the kind of things that they uphold them. And I want to say that uh, anyone who competes with Christ in terms of worship is against God. There's no one who can be allowed to fight for worship. If they do, then they are other gods. Gods with small g. um, Reggae or Rastafarian movement has grown over time, and they seem to fight for the rights, or they advocate for fighting for the rights of the blacks. It's not a bad thing to fight for people's rights, but the biggest fighter of the rights of people is God. The book of Thessalonians tells us in, I think, Second Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 6, that our God is a just God. He will pay evil for evil. He fights for his people. You don't have to fight for yourself. I have a problem with other religions that have come up to fight for their God. There are religions that if you mention their God in bad light, they beat you up. In essence, they fight for their God. I'm happy because Christianity, our God fights for us. Our God fights for us. And so every other time that we listen to music, or to reggae music for that matter, it's good to understand. And I said it is important we listen to the source. Who is this person singing? What are his beliefs? And it is some sort of a task, but it is save you the heartache of selling your soul and your spirituality to a different uh, being instead of God. God requires us to give him his whole heart, and he comes. And for those that have believed and have seen what God can do, I'm sure they have a testimony of what God can do. I want to stop here today, but I want to promise that the next episode will be powerful. We shall talk about particular music. We shall look for a particular song or a particular musician and sample some of his songs and listen and get to understand what they really meant, what they were for, and the kind of attitude used. And maybe because God will help us, we can decode even the kind of spirit involved. Is it godly or not godly? Is it godly or secular? And don't be attracted by songs because they have a lot of feeling. I must say this because I experienced it. Because when I used to listen to reggae music, there's something we used to discuss among the groups of boys and the men that used to listen to reggae music. You ask them, why do you listen to reggae music? They'll tell you the message. It is touching. But they are not able to explain that there's a spiritual feeling that also takes over. I have seen people listen to a song and get drunk by a song. The way you can stand in front of an altar in church and in front of the congregation and sing, and the worship carries you over and you feel like crying. It's the same thing that some of these reggae people who listen to reggae music go through. Sometimes they sing a song and they are carried away because there's a kind of a spirit in them. The problem of allowing some of these spirits in your heart is that they expose your heart, they expose your soul. You encourage a lot of spirits in you. And so every time that you allow and open your heart to some of these songs, you sing along their ones, you confess what they are saying. You confess. There's one musician who would sing about wanting to die or feeling like he was dying. And I feel like if you want to listen to such a song and you want to keep feeling it and getting moved by it and being carried over by it, the thing is you feel like you're calling death, you're attracting death into you. I know at some point all of us shall die because that is the doorway or the way to heaven or to wherever you shall go if it is hell. But before our time, we pray and we believe that we shall not die before our time. And so some of these songs we sing, sometimes they make us confess to wanting to die or wanting to get into things that are not even Christ-like, or they are not according to the teachings of God. And that's why you should be very careful. I don't want to preempt. We shall have a lot next time. Please keep watch, listen, and I hope you love it. Thank you so much, and God bless you.